What's going on, Hoodie fam? Now, y'all know that today, obviously, September 8th, it is 2K24 release day. And as y'all can see from the title, y'all have an idea what we're making. But at this point, after last year, I feel like it's kind of routine almost for me to create a 𝙨𝙗𝙬 build, because the 𝙨𝙗𝙬 build did so well for me. And that was literally the build that I used the entirety of the year. And I loved it. I loved it so much. There were things that could be tweaked later on down the line, like probably will still apply to this build. But what I'm going for with this type of build today is kind of a mesh of 𝙨𝙗 and Scottie Barnes. Now, first off, make sure y'all go down below, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, as of right now, I've more or less been focused on doing Madden, and now that 2K is finally out, I'm going to be doing both Madden and 2K content. So, we're going to get straight to this. I don't want to try to keep this video too long. I'm going to keep it kind of sweet and simple. Now, usually what I go for my first build is I go for a build that is ultimately not the greatest at anything, but also not horrible at anything, or most things, you feel me? So I'm gonna start off with just the physicals. I'm gonna max out my acceleration. I'm gonna put my speed down 1. My vertical itself is going to be at a 75 because I want the simple pro contact dunks, even though it'll be nothing special. And my stamina is going to be at 93. Note, your stamina is only going to be this high because you want handles for days. Now, the way that the badges work in this game, they kind of work a lot different than the other games. And honestly, me personally, I don't even completely understand them, because y'all are truthfully watching my first ever build creation like in real time. I ran through a little bit of things when it came to this build that I want, which is why I'm telling y'all that this build itself isn't going to be the greatest at anything, but at the same time, it's not necessarily horrible. So while this is the best Scottie Barnes build, obviously, as far as the game is concerned, far from the best build in the game, because there are much better builds that I've seen already that are in this game that we clearly don't get, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm going up to an 86 driving dunk. The reason why I'm going to an 86 is because I want to get silver posterizer. Now, there's a few areas in this build that you could tweak. Like if you didn't want silver posterizer and didn't care to get silver, you could drop it down to an 84 because you still get those pro dunks, and then you could also drop your vert down to a 70. Saves you a few points, would allow you to throw a little bit of upgrades elsewhere, which honestly probably could help out certain aspects of this build, because with how they did the builder this year, it is not as lenient when you're trying to make a build that can do a bit of everything and have it be as good as the builds were last season, or not last season but last year. So it's kind of rough, but I'm gonna make do with what I can. And honestly, this build is just the day one Scottie Barnes build. Y'all will probably see maybe a second stage Scottie Barnes build at some point, but as of right now, this is what we're coming up with. So I'm gonna run through these stats in a second after I'm done putting them in. Obviously, I'm not too sure if all thresholds are necessarily proper, because, you know, some things honestly were changed from the information that I saw and the information that I was given. So I'm just going based off of what I actually managed to create. So if you already looked from just the top things, as far as your finishing, you get the contact dunks and you are a build that is capable of dunking. That is honestly the only thing that you're really concerned with when it comes to actually driving to the basket. You can dunk. That's really all that matters. As far as shooting is concerned, you have an 83 ball. There has never been a 2K where if you have an 83 ball, you can't hit consistently. And from the information I've been seeing and from stuff I've been told, if you know your jump shot and can time your thing properly, you should be able to hit something like this easily. Now, a 77 speed with ball and only a gold speed booster, I'm not too sure how good it's going to be. One of the things I wanted to try to get blow by. I really did. And not blow by on bronze, I wanted to try to get it on actual like silver, but to do that, it also affects other portions of the build. So maybe I tweak it a little bit while we're here actually, but maybe not at the same time. I went personally with an 85 on my defense. Now remember how I said this build is okay at almost everything, but it's not perfect at anything. So there are a lot of holes and areas where it's like, oh yeah, you might get this badge, but you don't get to any of the thresholds where the badge is extremely optimal. So I really just like to have those type of builds where you can do a little bit of everything, but you're not the greatest at anything. It's one of those type of things. What is the word? Not word, but what's the saying? A knower of all, but a master of none. But is that how it says? Is that how it goes? I'm not sure if that's how it goes. But when you go through these stats, right, you are a player that is more than capable of dunking. There aren't many, or I'm not too sure yet since I haven't played the game just yet. I can only assume there's not going to be too many situations where you have to lay the ball up. Could be wrong, but at the very least you can dunk. As far as shooting is concerned, you get very solid shooting badges. My only complaint with this build is shooting wise, you don't get limitless. I wanted limitless so bad, but shooting wise, you don't get limitless. And as y'all can see from the all badge category, it's just a bunch of mid-level badges. You don't get many golds. Truthfully, you don't get many golds. You don't get many Hall of Fames. Honestly, and that's just because your attributes are so spread out that, as I said, you're good at a bunch of things, but you aren't a specialist at anything per se. Playmaking, pass accuracy, you should be able to make solid passes with a 77. You could drop this if you don't want like the needle threader or even the dimer. Like, you could honestly drop this a bunch in my opinion. Not sure how exactly the pass animations are going to work this game just yet, but it's all a prototype. At the end of the day, all of this stuff is just day one stuff. It's simple. Ball handling, you gotta have ball handling. I wanted to go 85 to get gold ankle breaker, but this is also something that we may revisit later on down the line, just after we know how these badges really work at the highest level, if that makes any sense. Physical handles, I wanted to try this badge out. Not too sure if it's good or not, because if you don't really care for physical handles gold, you could always drop your ball handling a bit to even an 81. That helps you out. I just ended up with 82 here. Honestly, overall, there's not really many things that I want to change with this build. I can honestly drop this to an 81 now and go like that. Boom. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know what stat I was trying to change that ball handling stat to. I really don't. But overall, this is the combination or the creation that I made, at least for my first overall build. I feel like it is very well rounded, but at the same time, it has a lot of areas where it's just ultimately truthfully mid in multiple ways. Now, I'm perfectly fine with that because that was honestly one of my favorite builds last year, the Draymond Green build, but this year we're rocking out with the Scottie Barnes build. If you do make this and try to make it in a comp setting, I would say do not attempt to try to have all four categories, because with the way that the builder itself is selfish, it's probably best that you prioritize specific areas when it comes to actually making your build. For example, just sticking to one area of a pie chart. For example, not even pie chart, but one area of your player's abilities. If you want to be a shooter, focus on your shooting so you can make sure you guarantee to get those gold Hall of Fame badges. If you want to finish, focus on your finishing so you're guaranteeing yourself those gold Hall of Fame badges. Or at the very least, focus on two of them. One is going to have to take a hit this game, is what I'm noticing. For example, our finishing is not very strong, but then again, we're a Scottie Barnes build / Draymond Green type build, so our finishing ain't really nothing special, even though Scottie Barnes kind of got some thunder around the rim. As y'all can see, our comparisons: Gerald Wallace, Kyle Kuzma, and Scottie Barnes. The only thing I hate about this build is the name. Now, honestly, before I was rudely interrupted, y'all can see now, man, we loaded up. Honestly, we got the inside out threat. I truthfully hate the name, but I'm about to go grind the ever-loving hell out this game because this is being recorded like instantly. And I mean like instantly after the game dropped. Obviously, y'all can see the brown shirts. The Scottie Barnes gameplay, it should be coming pretty quick. And if you are here watching this video from Madden franchise, obviously, just know those videos aren't going away. We still gonna be grinding out Madden, and at the same time, we're gonna now be grinding out 2K. Note, this build is very subject to change. Even just looking at it, I see a lot of areas that I like, but then at the same time, there's also things that I really do want to tweak with this build. So just know, subject to change. Your boy Hoodie out. Peace. I hope y'all enjoyed. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one.